Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. This is Back to Basics Part 40. Goodness, that's flown by, hasn't it? Part 40, Back to Basics with Microsoft Flight Sim. It's an advanced vertical navigation tutorial guide video. It's about setting up your VNAV profile properly, and then you can get your predicted altitude back on your left G1000. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that exactly in this video. We've also got a very special guest with us as well. We've got Susie from the Discord. A lot of you will know her. Well listen, let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. Okay, so we're set up at Southend Airport. Now this is EGMC, I believe, Echo Golf Mike Charlie. And as you can see, Susie's in the Cessna 172. We're both in the 172. Hope you didn't get that malware bytes message that just popped up on the screen there. I've just got rid of it. We're both in the 172, as you can see, and this flight will be taking place with the 172 with the G1000s. Do you want to say hello, Susie?
Hello, yep. Well, I'm very grateful to be in this video, so thank you.
No, you're welcome. And the idea of this, people at home, I'm going to be setting up this approach, basically, this VNAV approach, and I'm going to be... Susie's not done this with me yet, so I'll be talking to Susie. The idea is that you know, if... Susie, I hope you, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you're still a relative newbie to Flight Sim, so if Susie can do it, we can all do it, basically. Or it's basically, if Susie can, you can. To be kinder, because Susie's actually quite practiced nowadays, doing lots of practice. I'm also going to link Susie's channel down below in the description. Hopefully, Susie, you're recording this as well, aren't you, from your point of view?
Yes, I will be.
So
if all goes well, I'll be up.
Okay, yeah, so if that video goes well, I'll link that down in the description as well, so you can see Susie's point of view in this. So Susie, once you're set up there, we're going to get to the right G1000. And we've got a simple course set up. We've got EGMC, Southend, to Gatwick, with EG, let's zoom in on that a bit closer, EGQC in between, that's a waypoint in between. So EGMC to Gatwick and just EGQC added as a waypoint between. If you get to your right G1000, Susie, and go to Procedures.
Okay.
We're going to select Approach, so if you press your Enter key there.
Hold on.
So it's the Enter button on the G1000.
Yes, I've got that.
Okay, and then with the big FMS knob, so the larger one, just mouse up on it to get to ILS 26 left. And press the Enter button again.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the transition, we want the May transition. So if you use that big FMS knob, mouse up on it again, it will get you to the May one.
Already?
Yeah, and Enter again, and then we'll use the big knob, mouse up on it to go down to Load. Remember, people at home, you don't want to activate this because this will give you a direct route to Gatwick. You want to load it into the flight plan. So if you do that, Susie, scroll down to Load and Enter. And Enter again, it'll come up not approved for GPS, don't worry about that. Are you with us there?
Yes, I'm all set.
Brilliant. Okay, so if I range out there, so I'm going to range out, mouse up on the range button, you can see the course now. You can see Southend to EGQC, then it will go towards the transition, the May transition into 26 left. If you look at your flight plan there, you can do this as well, Susie. You can see all the flight plan. What we're going to do here is alter it. You can see one of those, is it D002C, is in white. We don't want that, and I'm going to show you later on. If we set this correctly, you will get those projected altitudes on the left G1000. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click, Susie, on the small FMS knob. Right click on that, and it should be flashing on EGQC. Just let me know that you're with me there. So right click on that, on the outer knob, you know, that smaller knob, FMS. I think it's technically the inner knob, people call it, but that confuses me. So the smaller knob, if you right click on that, you should.
I've got that. Yep.
Yeah.
We're flashing. Yep.
So on your big FMS knob, scroll upwards till you get to that D002C, the altitude, the 2875. Scroll up on that FMS knob. So I'm going to keep scrolling up on it till I get to the 2875, and that's highlighted, 2875 feet.
All set.
All set, okay. And we're going to use that outer knob, that smaller knob. Just mouse up on it once, and it will give you the 0 before the 2875.
Yep, got it.
And then I'm going to use that larger knob again. Scroll up on that once to get to the next number. And once again to get to the 8. So the larger FMS knob, scroll up twice to get to the 8 there.
Yep, all set.
And what I'm going to do, it's a bit of backwards and forwards this for you, Susie, and people at home, but I'm going to use this smaller FMS knob. I'm going to mouse down on it in this case to change that 8 to a 6.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a bigger knob, so the bigger FMS knob. Scroll up once to get to the next number, 7. And I'm going to use that smaller knob again to change that to a 0.
Okay.
Yeah. And then FMS knob, the bigger one again, scroll up once again to get to the 5. And we're using the smaller knob to change that to a 0. So you could mouse up or down on that, mouse wheel up or down to change that to a 0. So you should have 0 to 600. Or 2,600 feet. Right click on that smaller knob. Right click on that to stop the flashing. Oh, sorry Susie, I've made a mistake, so we'll go through that again. My mistake. Right click on that FMS. If you haven't right clicked, if you haven't right clicked yet, just enter. Don't right click, enter.
I haven't. I've right clicked. I've done the same as you.
Oh, okay.
Back to start.
So I'm going to right click on that smaller knob. So we can do this, and it shows that even I make mistakes as well. Right click on that smaller knob to start the flashing on EGQC.
Okay.
And then we're going to use that bigger FMS knob. Scroll up on it until you get to that 2,875 again.
That's me.
Yeah. And use a smaller knob. Just mouse up once, mouse wheel up once on it to get the 0 flashing.
Yep.
And we're going to use that bigger knob. Scroll up twice to get to the 8. And we're going to use a smaller knob to change that to a 6. Do you think you've got the hang of changing these numbers now? I'm going to change them all to 2,600 again. But let me know, Susie.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go right through it all.
You got it all. Now press enter. Don't press the press enter on that. So the enter button. And there you go. It should be flashing in blue now. It should all be teal. Is it doing that for you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So now you can right click on that smaller knob to stop that flashing. And there you go. I mean, I hope this is the same for you, Susie. All those transition heights on that transition that we'll be taking, the May transition, are all now in teal. I believe that's teal. It looks like teal. And I believe that's a correct terminology for this. They're all teal now, so you don't have any white ones. Are they all showing blue or teal for you, Susie?
Yes, they are.
Brilliant.
A little bee pen at the side.
While we're here, it doesn't matter, we can do that part in flight. Okay, so we got that part. We're going to go to the left G1000 now. So this, because these are all in teal, these are all showing here, and none of these are white. Once we get on the transition here, we go to our left G1000, you will see predicted altitudes come up next to that altitude number up here, next to the assigned autopilot altitude number up here. So it does still work, you just have to set it up correctly. And this should work effectively for any flight, any transition similar that has different altitudes, as you can see here. So any sort of transition for an ILS, basically, this should work. Seems like it's needing or wanting whole numbers for it to work properly. So if any of these altitudes are odd numbers, try changing them a little, and hopefully you'll get them all showing as teal. What we're going to do, Susan, we're going to take a look at our left G1000. You've got that 74 next to the Y there. Can you see that next to the speed ribbon? 74 and Y.
Yep, I have got that, thank you.
We're going to click our flight level change button, flight level change mode button, and then at the top there you should see FLC come up.
Yes, we've got that.
And we're going to use vertical speed nose down, so it's your last button on your right. So on your left hand bank of buttons, it's your very bottom right button, vertical speed nose down, basically. We're going to click that, keep clicking it to set an altitude, to set a speed of 74 knots. And what we're telling the autopilot to do again here is when we stick on autopilot, we'll go to nav in this case, it will maintain that 74 knots, and the altitude of the vertical speed of the aircraft will be dependent on the pitch of the nose of the aircraft. It's sort of quite technical, but it does make sense. So the aircraft will pitch its nose to maintain that 74 knots, and the vertical speed will be dependent. That's effectively the Y here. I've mentioned this in another video. It's our best rate of climb, covering the most altitude for our current setup of our aircraft. Okay, and what we're going to do, Susie, if you look at your right G1000 again, sorry, but you can see we need to get to 3,000 feet. If you could set your autopilot assigned altitude to 3,000 feet. Are you with me?
Yes, all set.
Right, brilliant. I'm just going to wave to Susie behind me. I can see you behind me, so hello. And we're going to set off, so full throttle, Susie. And when you're ready, we shall release the parking brake and get up. So you should see me moving along now. And I'll try and keep us both together. Yeah, we are pretty much synced together there. So watch what happens. I'll try and do it on the actual physical buttons in the aircraft. We're going to get up to takeoff speed about, I'm going to get to around 17 knots, so just over, there we go, pull back. Bit of trim just to give us the positive rate of climb. Make sure you're in the positive rate of climb there. Bit more. There we go, and I'm going to click the autopilot button and nav mode. And we should be following our course, and the aircraft will maintain that 74 knots whilst climbing up to us to 3,000 feet. So basically, like I said, it's our most effective rate of climb. So you can see the nose of the aircraft pitching up while the autopilot's trying to get to that 74 knots and maintain it. And the vertical speed, your rate of climb, which is over 1,000 feet per minute, is all dependent on that. So there we go, there's Susie, I can just see you there. So we are pretty much in sync, but we will be joining up to be in perfect sync later. So there we go, Susie, so whilst, have you got it all set in autopilot and you're climbing?
Yes, it's all set and it's climbing.
Right. Actually, there you are, got you. So if you go to your right G1000, we're going to right click on that small FMS knob again to get the flashing up again. Because I want to find our FAF, our final, is it FAF? I believe it is. Let me just make sure. FAF, so it's our final fix, basically. Final approach fix. There we go. FAF. So if you right click on that smaller knob and then use your bigger knob, just scroll down so you can see FAF flashing or showing. And we can see it's got an altitude of 2,000 feet. Don't worry about this part, Susie. It's not important you do this, but it's just so you can see it itself. But you can see there at home, FAF, so it's our final approach fix. It's saying we want to be at 2,000 feet. That's going to be important. I'll stop that flashing now. That's going to be important when we get to our 3,000 feet, which we're getting to very quickly here. And there's Southend below you, by the way. This is with the Orbix South scenery, so it may look slightly differently on mine as always. And by the way, people at home, if it seems a little bit different recording, I'm using OBS because I wanted to make sure I could capture Susie's voice properly. So I usually use GeForce, which does give a better one-to-one experience and recording, but this will do. We're not going to be doing too much moving around. There we go. I can see autopilot is flashing on my multi-panel. So once that changes to ALT, it'll mean, yeah, there you go. It's changed to ALT. It's now caught our autopilot assigned altitude. Are you at 3,000 feet? Yeah, Susie.
I'm just approaching 2,000, so I'll get there eventually. I had my flaps down. Apologies for that.
That's okay. Well, we can wait just a moment because this next step we're going to do is going to be quite important as well. Ah, there you are. Got you. You are below me. So there we go. Susie's still climbing. I'm going to bring back my throttle a bit because otherwise I'm going to thunder ahead while Susie's still climbing. She's climbing at a lesser speed than I'm doing at the moment, which is, yeah, it's over 100 knots. So let me just slow right down to half throttle. There we go. So I can see Susie's now approaching 2,400. So she's going to get there in no time. And I thought this kind of video, maybe I'll do these types of videos again, collaboration videos with people, just because it's good if someone's with me actually learning the procedures on the fly, as it were. So there you go, 2,700. So we're getting there. Yeah, I'm doing 85 knots. Just going to watch my speed there. I don't want to stall, so I'm just bring up my throttle a little bit. 19,000 RPM should be okay. 1900 RPM. Blimey, I'll be zooming around at 19,000 RPM. Right, there you go. So I can see you now. 2,900. Slowly getting to 3,000. You're there. Susie, you're there, aren't you? 3,000. So I'm going to whack my throttle up now because she'll be joining me. She'll put the throttle back up to around 90%. So Susie, just confirm that you are at 3,000 feet for me.
I am.
Yeah, so now we're set.
And my speed is...
Go on, your speed is...
increasing, so catching up with you.
Okay. What we're going to do now, we're going to set our autopilot assigned altitude back down to 2,000. We're not going to fly to that. We're going to set it at 2,000 because that's our final approach fix. So the autopilot assigned altitude, I've changed that now to 2,000. Have you got that, Susie?
I have indeed.
Yeah, it won't descend until you give it instructions. And we're going to click the vertical navigation button on your left-hand side of buttons there, Susie. Click on that vertical navigation. And at the top here, you should see VPath will come up. And on our right G1000, we've got additional information. The May there, May 3000, that's the beginning of our transition. Top of descent is 15 minutes. So there we go, and it will give us bottom of descent later. So top of descent when we start descending, and then you'll get projected altitudes come up here. It's 15 minutes away. Have you got that information, Susie, on yours?
I I haven't.
Great. So, chaps, what we're going to do now, we're going to do a slight cut. All that's going to happen, the aircraft's going to travel along. We can keep you with us for the next 15 minutes, but I'll show you. Just before we get to the May transition. So we'll be staying at 3,000 feet. Let me just show you, just in case you want to do this flight at home. We're just following autopilot. We're doing nothing here. We're just going to be flying along. We'll reach EGQC. We'll be at 3,000 feet, then we'll approach May, still at 3,000 feet. Just before we get to May, I'll bring you back. Okay, so you join us, you can see me there. Quite a few people around us as well. We've been chatting about the different names there. Susie's just behind there, as you can see. Jump in the cockpit, you can see we've got 4 nautical miles now towards that May. We've maintained 3,000 feet, but we've set our autopilot assigned altitude once again to 2,000, because that's our final approach fix altitude, as you can see there. So whatever that is, your FAF, I said that right, whatever that is, the altitude showing next to it, put your autopilot assigned altitude to that. Once we get to May, which is coming right up to us now, you'll see our predicted autopilot. There you go, it's come up. Now yours should come up in a moment. Mine's showing 2,600, Susie. So if you look at your left G1000, you should hopefully get your predicted altitude come up in purple, let's call it, next to your altitude ribbon there. And now I'm turning onto the May fix. Has it come up for you?
It has just the other now, yes.
Yeah. So there you go. So it does work, people. It's still working, the projected altitude. So it's at 3,000. If we look at this now, we should have a bottom of descent somewhere. Let's try and zoom in on the right G1000. Do we have a bottom of descent? We should have... Oh, I can bring up my cursor. Move the cursor up to the end here. Bottom of descent should be somewhere around here. If it's not showing yet, it will certainly be showing later. No, it's not showing yet. That's fine. Oh, bottom of descent's there. There we are. So our first bottom of descent is actually showing. It's just ahead of us. So it'll get to the bottom of descent in 34 seconds. And then it will click to the next projected altitude. As you can see, the vertical navigation symbology has come up here. So it's keeping us in the perfect vertical navigation profile. So the autopilot's doing all the work, about 500 feet per minute, which it's showing there. That's the vertical speed required and targeted. So I'm just about to hit my first bottom of descent. We'll get another top of descent in a moment. And I'm not doing anything here. The autopilot's doing all this. There you go. I've got a new top of descent. Descent, which is now 38 seconds away from us. Are you getting all this, Susie? Can you see it on yours?
Yes, I can.
Brilliant. So there we go, and you can see our projected altitude now on our left G1000 has changed to our basically our final approach fix of 2,000, and it will stay there. That will be the approach fix it will reach, and then bring us, and then you'll see the glide slope diamond later, and goodness knows what. So all we have to do is manage our speed now. The autopilot's descending us, and it will descend us now to 2,000 feet. Top of descent's there. Once it reaches top of descent, it will bring us down to 2,000 feet. We're still at 2,600, which was our last fix, which we passed now. There we go. Top of descent, bottom of descent. 1.5 minutes away, and it's descending us to 2,000 feet. So it's doing everything for us, basically. I'm just going to bring that throttle back, Susie. You might want to do the same to about 70%. Physical throttle, just so we don't overspeed the engine, or the aircraft rather. There we go, so you can see quite clearly there the bottom of descent, which is now just over a minute away, and then we'll be turning on our final approach fix not long after that, and the glide slope and all that good stuff should come up. So I can just pop outside. I can see you descending, Susie, as well, so the autopilot's behaving for you, thankfully. I know that name. I am Tlovel. It's in the 182. I recognise that from... Maybe I just recognise him from flying around, but he might have been on one of our group flights. Anyway, there you go. We're coming down to 2,000 feet. 2,160 at the moment. The autopilot's maintaining that and doing all the work. Bottom of descent's approaching in 25 seconds. And like I said, I'm showing you this, but don't panic. Once you have your altitude set up, your final approach fix altitude set, and you put it into vertical navigation, as long as you had all those altitudes set and they're all in teal, as I showed you before, you'll be golden. The autopilot will just take over and fly this for you. So there we go, it's reached my 2,000 feet altitude. I can see that you're approaching that too, Susan. I'm turning now towards our final turn, basically. This will line us up with the runway. All I'm going to do now is keep an eye on my left G1000. Once we start approaching our final approach fix, actually you can bring your speed down anytime. I'm going to bring the speed down, a bit of a pause there. Bring my speed down to about 1900 RPM. So it's just over half throttle, I believe. There's the RPM there. That will get us towards flap speed. I'm 97 knots, so I'm pretty much towards that stage 1 flap speed. Oh, a Concorde ahead of us. Hope it flies over us. We could be lucky here. We could see Concorde just scrape our windshield. Maybe. I can see Susie turning in tandem there in sync, which is great. So, speed's controlled. Just a little bit slower, just to get towards that stage 1 flaps. To get towards that white arc, as you can see on the speed ribbon there. So it is about half throttle, in fact. And I'm just waiting for that glide slope diamond to come up, which will come up soon. Still turning slightly there, so that's okay. There you go, I'll keep the speed there, it's at a good speed. About 90 knots at the moment. That's not good. Gatwick's ahead of us. It's yonder, out there somewhere. Just about make it there. I can make it out. There's a runway ahead of us. So there you go, it's all behaved. We've got Captain Clint on the runway, I think. No, Concorde's gone the other direction. That's okay, Concorde, you're a bit faster than we are. So there we go. Just watch my speed. I'm getting below where I want to be. I want to keep it around that 90 knots if I can. As soon as I see the glide slope diamond come up, which will come up in a moment, I'm just going to go to stage 1 flaps. Put 1 notch of flaps in when it comes up. So there we go. Speed should be okay there. I'll just keep an eye on it. Any second now. How far are we from our... Well, we're reaching the 1 before our final approach fix. And then the final approach fix is a further 2 nautical miles. So the glide slope diamond should come up after we've passed this, I think. Might be actually when we get on our final approach fix is when it will start showing, but it should come up. Ah, it's come up now. Can you see, Susie? You should see it soon. You should see now the V's changed to a G on your left G1000. You got the glide slope indicator. I'm going to go to stage 1 flaps now. Don't do it till you see it, Susie. And as that diamond's now moving down for me, slowly moving down, I'm going to hit my approach mode button. You'll see GS come up here in white in the top right hand corner of that left G1000. Once the glide slope indicator comes to the centre, it will lock on and go green. And again, the autopilot will take full control. Have you got the glide slope indicator showing for you, Susie?
I I do, and
You
put our flaps down, ready to hit approach.
Okay, once you see that glide slope indicator start moving down, you can probably go to approach mode now, in fact, if you want to, because it should lock onto it. So there we go, we'll watch this together, people at home. You'll see that diamond come to the centre, and GS will go green. So don't forget to hit approach mode, Susie. And then I'm just going to control. I'm going to go to another stage of flaps. So I've got 2 notches of flaps in. Glide slope's gone green now. You can see it flashing. It's locked onto the glide slope, and it will start descending us. So I'm going to bring that throttle back a bit more, because you can see my speed's increasing as we descend. Not too much. I've got it to around 45% physical throttle. And the runway's right ahead of us. So there you go. Stage 2 of flaps. Or 2 notches of flaps, as you can see. And speed is right within that flaps range, about 84 knots at the moment, which is okay. And we can slow down a bit more once we get a little bit nearer to the runway. So do give this a try at home, people. So set if these and any of these altitudes, when you first input your approach, ILS approach, if any of them are not showing teal, blue here, change it to whole numbers and you should find it should work. Numbers, you know, so if it's like 2,830, change it to 2,800. Something close to the number it's already at. And you should be okay. So there we go, coming in. 80 knots now, nice and slow. Just letting the autopilot do all this. Looks like Captain Clint is actually on a gate there, probably in a jumbo, I imagine, in an airliner rather. As you can see, you've got the usual suspects, strange names around. Droll Wings, I like that one too. These chaps have been with us, I don't know, they must be, I don't know if they're in a group flight or something, but looks like they might be. It's always interesting to look around to see who's there. So there we go, approaching Gatwick Airport, 26 left. Speed's fine. On our very last little leg now. Autopilot, basically from when I set the autopilot and set this all up and hit autopilot, or put it on autopilot and nav. Apart from when I reached 3,000 feet and set that to 2,000, our final approach fix altitude. Apart from doing that and pressing VNAV, I've not had to do much more apart from control the speed. Very simple once you get the hang of it. How have you found it, Susie?
Yeah, not too bad. I think I'm okay.
That's great. See, he's still just behind me there, so I might even catch you landing. Although you are coming up to me quickly. Oh no, you're not. Don't worry about your speed. If you got it set as a good speed, don't alter it. I don't want you crashing right now. I'm just about to touch down. Oh, I'm going to in the next minute. Still under autopilot. Have noticed it can be slightly off the centre line sometimes when it does an ILS. So when you take it off autopilot, you may have to do a little bit of adjustment, but that's no problem. So there we go. I'm just going to watch that speed. I don't want to... I'm well above stall speed. Just coming down to 70 knots now. Oh, look at that. Susie's right next to me. That's brilliant. Can we do a landing in sync? There we go. Give you that view at home. Don't need to worry. The autopilot's still got control. Look how close we are there. That's brilliant. And there we go. Flying over the runway now. So once I get past the lights, I can take it off autopilot, and I'll do it from the buttons in the aircraft, just in case you're following this. So there you go, that about there. Take it off autopilot, just adjust a little bit to get back to centre line, bring my speed down. And a bit of floaty walty here. Touchdown, gentlemen. Come off, just come off to the left, Susie, once you've touched down. So there we go, touchdown, just coming up off to the left there. Pop outside while I'm braking. Yeah, I can see you've touched down, that's great. Just come to a complete stop around there, so off the runway in case anybody else wants to land there. There's Susie, look at that, we landed in sync. So there you go, people. Once again, try this, and try it with this route first. So we set off from EGMC Southend Airport to Gatwick Airport EGKK. We had a, oh, where is it now? EGQC, I believe, in between that, added as a waypoint. Try this route first. There you go, EGQC as a waypoint in between that. Give this a try, then you can try it on a different ILS, but as long as you alter those numbers so that they're all showing in teal, you should get similar results. Anyway, do let us know your thoughts on the video. Give it a go. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, many more of these types of videos on their way. And Susie, we'll see you soon. Now, you meant to say that with me. See you soon, everybody. Bye, Susie. Okay, she's there somewhere. See you next time.